Yep, on the YouTubes as well. Good morning, everyone. Everyone, there's nobody here but me. My name is Sheila. I almost forgot. I almost forgot. Good morning. My name is Sheila Karuna. Welcome to. Actually, if you're seeing this live, it's first of all, it's Wednesday, September the 10th, 2025, and it is on Sassy Seer Sheila. I am recording this, so I will be uploading it to New Light Streaming Love after this live is over. And so if you are watching it on New Light Streaming Love, it is no longer live. You're watching the replay. I've been a bit distracted of late, and I think all for really good reasons. And I was feeling called to come and do a live today for a couple of reasons. First of all, I have heard from Jason Gray, and we will be um, doing a live. And bear with me just a moment because I want to verify exactly what we decided on the timing for that. So I'm going to come over here and check because I was trying to convince him that I'm old and I need to go a little earlier. He is an hour behind me. Yeah, no, it's still going to. So we're going to go live Friday night. He did say, yes, this coming Friday, which is September the 12th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which, and just hopefully the old gal won't fall asleep. Let's just, pray that that's the case. So, I had Bell's palsy back in the early 2000s. And while I recovered quite nicely, the right side of my face, my eye really, really, really droops when I get overly tired. And so, hey, like I said, I actually rise pretty early in the show. By 9 p.m., I'm winding it down. So, but Jason's quite a bit younger than me. And like I said, that is 8 p.m. for him. So, at any rate, 9 p.m. this Friday, right here on Sassy Seer Sheila. If you are watching this on New Light Streaming Love, would love to have you come and join the live with us on Sassy Seer Sheila. I will be recording it, so the replay will go up on New Light Streaming Love as long as we don't talk about things that could get New Light Streaming Love kicked off the channel. That is partly why I've decided to do that. You're going to start seeing that more and more. That I will be putting things on Sassy Seer Sheila that will not appear on New Light Streaming Love because, well, I have an internal knowing that there's the censorship that has taken place where I'm concerned, because this is my third channel, is stepping up all across the internet, to be honest with you. So, and I've never uttered any sort of, hate speech or anything like that. However, um, as Jason wrote, one of his writings was, oh, wow, was all about they don't ban hate speech, they ban speech they hate, which, it's all about perception and your perspective of your perception. And so, you know, at any rate, that's the way that's going to go down. I hope you'll join us for the live over here on Sassy Seer Sheila. And if you can't make it, that's cool. I get it. It will have a replay over on New Light Streaming Love. And of course, it'll be available here on Sassy Seer Sheila at any time. So, without further ado, I've actually been getting a lot of internal dialogue for me. Oh, wow. As I said that, the elemental energies card that came out was frosty stillness. Experience the stillness of frost, finding peace and clarity in the tranquil, icy silence. Isn't that interesting? Because honestly, again, for me, what I've been getting has a lot to do with perception and my realization that on some level of me, I've always known perception is key. Understanding, inner standing for me personally. That perception is such a personal thing, and it can be no other way. I went through a lot of my life thinking, wondering, being so basically upset that well, this is just common sense. Why can't everybody see this? Why, what's, that sort of thing. And I now realize, I mean, my mother said to me, Sheila, not everybody thinks the same way you do. And that's a true statement for everyone, actually. No one thinks the exact same way. No matter what we want to think that's true, it is not. Common sense is not as common as we might think. And that's not a slam. I'm not saying that as a slam. I'm saying it as a statement of fact because it has to do with perception and the fact that one's perception is an ongoing thing. It's a filter. It's something that has been informed by experiences that one has had in their life. Our perception is formed specifically by our experiences. It can be no other way. And our experiences are completely our own. Surrender the drama is what came out from the surrender deck, right? There is quite a bit of drama on the world stage right now that we are asked to, well, get all kind of upset about too. The the attempts at trying to grab everybody's attention seems to be ratcheting up in a way that uh, is very interesting to me. And so now we did start our book club for the Celestine Prophecy, and if you were one of the folks that had said you wanted to join and you weren't able to make it, I get that. I did send emails out, but see, that's the problem with my emails. Sometimes they end up in spam filters. They also end up in the nether world. I don't ever know the whys and the wherefores about what happens to my emails because it happens all the time. But I guess I had assumed since those that had expressed interest in the book club that my emails would get through because you emailed me first. And so it would seem, at least again, from my perspective, that that should have been enough, right? To make sure that my email got back to you. However, I don't know what goes into all of that sort of thing. What constitutes a um, piece of spam or not, as there were links in the invitation from Zoom. So that could be it. I don't know. If you really wanted to be a part of our book club, we've only had the one meeting, and as per always, we record that. It's not available publicly. It is available for the members of the book club. Oh, two. And I'm happy to send that to you, and we'll make sure to get you caught up if you wanted to join us. So let's see, what do we? Oh my. This feels like a very interesting reading through a lot of levels. Um, who wants to go first? Well, we already talked about this first card, Surrender the Drama. No matter how emotionally charged the situation, remain calm and don't contribute to the drama. Staying centered will help resolve the issue more quickly. The truth of the matter for me right now is, especially in the collective, the things that are being shown on the world stage, I take all of what I'm being shown with a grain of salt. Partially due to the fact that, we have AI, we have misinformation, disinformation, we have cheap fakes, deep fakes, all manner of things to get folks into an incendiary position, right? I live in North Carolina, and I'm sure you're aware that something large happened just recently here, supposedly. Again, I have no personal knowledge of it. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm saying that I don't know the truth of it. And I suspect that not many people do, because there's, like everything that is shown on the world stage, only pieces and portions that support agendas are what is shown. But if it absolutely happened the way that it's been portrayed, then some of the statements that have been made by those in charge in Charlotte make absolutely no sense to me on any sort of level. And so, for me, you have to wonder about stuff like that. And while my heart goes out to all involved, I hold it out here and say, well, I just don't trust anything. I mean, and that's kind of what they were after, to be honest with you, is so that we don't trust anything that we're shown, told, supposed to have taken place. I just don't anymore. It's not right here in my field. it's open for it's open for, is this real? Because honestly, I have no way of knowing. Okay, so there's that. And then the very first card that I actually felt compelled to shuffle and pull was from the Shaman's Dream Oracle. Oh, very interesting. The card that came out is actually the same card that appears on the book, which is the beginner's breath. No, first breath, beginner's mind. And when I was looking at it on my desktop, what I saw was an embryo. And maybe, well, actually, in the, ooh, and I also see the upward facing infinity symbol in that too, which is very interesting. It is card number 21, which is a 3 numerologically, which is the Trinity for me, which is in many ways what I feel consciousness is moving towards, less of a duality way of thinking and more into a triality way of thinking. And what I mean by that, for me, I was raised, I'll be 64 in October. I was raised with a very duality thought process. It's true or false. It's light or dark. I now I see where actually it is true and false. It is light and dark. And that's what I mean by a more of a triality way of thinking. It can be true and it can be false and it can be both, which is a triality way of thinking. And so for me, I see this very interestingly as, um, again, that would probably be considered a relatively fresh way of looking at life, is the beginner's mind. And honestly, I'm being shown right now how that's actually a good way of approaching everything, because honestly, for me personally, I now see where uh, humanity has been so heavily programmed and conditioned in particular sorts of ways to believe things that are not necessarily so. I've seen an awful lot of things over these last, I don't know, 8 to 10 years, I guess, really. It would seem to suggest that not a whole lot of what I've been taught is correct. It's not exactly correct. And in some cases, not at all correct. So, by keeping the beginner's mind, I feel as though that opens us up to the realm of all possibility, potentiality, which really is, for me, the only way to go at this point, a fresh start and renewed curiosity, natural trust, a beginner's mind. When the first breath card shows up for you, it's time to leave the old stories and tales behind you, which that's really quite interesting as well. I had a chat with a viewer on Friday who is quite intuitive in her own right. I'm hoping to entice her into doing some regular segments with me for conscious conversation. And we spoke a bit about this actually. So that's kind of interesting. When the first breath card shows up for you, it is time to leave the old stories and tales behind. You have arrived. Take a deep breath and another. There is nothing else you need to do but take in the new world that is revealing itself around you. Trust your natural curiosity. There is no need to dwell on how difficult the journey has been or how tight the passage to get to where you are now. Just take it all in and experience the awe and wonder of your arrival at this destination. Even if it is a familiar place you have come to many times before, try to experience it as if for the first time. For you are renewed, and the old you is no longer your concern. Well, that's kind of interesting too, being in the eclipse window like we are. We just had a lunar eclipse on the 7th, and today being the 10th, we will have the solar eclipse, which is the other bookend to the eclipse season, on the 21st, I believe it is. And so that's really good advice. Uh, Practice the beginner's mind, not labeling or naming what you see and experience. That situation that was so difficult only a few days ago, just be with it and breathe. You have already gone beyond it, have overcome and resolved it, even if no one else realizes this yet. Soon enough, they will as you move on. Do not squander the power of first breath. Giving the old narrative mouth to mouth resuscitation. Use it for new beginnings to animate a world you can play and create in. Do not underestimate the power of your breath and the magic of the word. Now, honestly, this is bringing something else to top of mind for me, is to share with you a book that I read on the channel. It's in the playlist section, so please help yourself if you feel drawn to it, called The Handbook for the New Paradigm. And in the handbook, there are actually 3 volumes. They are in very specific playlists, one for each. And in the handbook for the new paradigm, it talks about how thought thinks within itself. The more we power thought, the more often we think, oh, that's not going to work. That couldn't possibly work. Well, we're giving power to that. We are assigning frequency to it. And now that thought, the more we power it, thinks within itself and it works. Magic, like magic in your life. Ask me how I know this. So this is really good advice as far as changing the way one receives information, and not I'm being shown, I'm being taught by my inner guidance in these moments of now how not to label things the way I always have. And I feel like this is speaking to that, right? It's like just seeing it, saying, okay, well, obviously there's something that's trying to be shown to me, and just waiting to see what else develops in regards to that, and kind of move from there. And I find it really very interesting too that one could actually see this card as easily in regards to eclipse, because there's some different planets there, as you can see, that are slightly out of phase behind the others and things like that. So very interesting that this card happened to, just happen to show up and show out. And I feel like the next card that wants to be read, the fairies oracle card, the topsy turvets, showed up. And it's the back of all the cards, but it's also a card in and of itself. And this card is all about perception, all about um, learning how to look at things from different angles, to give oneself another, the opportunity to see things in a new and different way. Um, yeah, this is very interesting to me how this reading is shaping up here. Um, so this is the Topsy Turvets. I will get to it just a momentarily here. Card number 51. That's a 6 numerologically. So far we have a 3 and we have a 6, right? Will we have a 9? Nope, we got another 3. That's very interesting. So 6 is love, harmony, balance is what it's always meant for me. It was one of my favorite numbers as a kid. This is change of viewpoint, fresh looks, new way of seeing. When life is confusing, the Turvets may come to visit you. Nothing draws them like a bit of mental muddle. They don't cause our disarray. We are good at doing that for ourselves and for each other. But they are attracted to it. Confusion is an important stage of growth. They delight in helping things to grow. They live everywhere. Not only humans need their help and are exceedingly busy. Fortunately, they are quite prolific, so there are a lot of them. When the topsy turvets show up, it indicates that someone needs to look again, to make an effort to see things from a different point of view. It suggests that confusion may exist because we are asking the wrong questions, which, in terms of what I was sharing in regards to surrendering the drama, right? When we are shown things in a particular light, and we are asked to simply take it at its word or whatever, right? I see this as being, well, for one thing, asserting one's sovereignty and question everything comes to mind. My own perceptions are up to be examined and questioned. And so, what makes you think that it's like that, Sheila? Okay, because you really do feel like it is that. So, what is that? Why? Why do you feel so strongly that it is that? And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. Actually, for me, I could tell you that's the only way forward because of everything that I've been shown that is not the way we've always been taught that it was, right? It suggests that confusion may exist because we are asking the wrong questions, or perhaps we have made assumptions that are incorrect. We have run into a brick wall built of those misconceptions, which is what I have found myself in that situation, which is why I say this. The Turvets ask us to back up, to question our assumptions, to try to see things from the viewpoints of other people involved in our muddle, which again, for me, goes right back to the beginner's mind. Wow, if I'd handpicked these cards, man, I tell you. They ask us to let go of our attachment to our own point of view, to stop saying ought and should, especially about other people. Yes, because as I opened this whole reading about perception, everyone's perception filter is completely different, and rightfully so. And they have their right to their perception filter. And the sooner we all really realize that is so, the better off we will all be. Uh, Most emphatically, they suggest that we start trying to see things as they really are instead of as someone thinks they should be. This card is a warning that someone involved in the question or issue at hand is mentally upside down or possibly sideways. It's one of the things I love about this card, too. No matter how you turn it, it looks like they are people not necessarily upside down either. It's just, it's a matter of perspective and how you view the card, right? I mean, it's it's such a cool card to me. In a reading, the Turvets suggest that things need to be looked at from another angle. We need to back off from our emotional entanglement and look anew. Much of the apparent confusion about the issue is caused by a faulty point of view. Get the opinions of honest others and then relook at your own. Defensiveness and denial may be causing much difficulty. Try imagining that you are looking at the situation from the point of view of each of the others involved. This is not an exercise in deciding how the other ought to see it. Those kinds of in discovering how, but in discovering how they really do. Words like he ought to see that are not useful at this time. And I that's what I was speaking to earlier. I caught myself saying things like, well, that's just common sense. In whose world? In my world, it's common sense, but maybe not so much in their world. And who the hell do I think I am telling them what's common or what should be common in their world? Perhaps they never had any kind of situation come up in their world that would show them that what I think is common sense is actually common sense. Just because that's a saying doesn't mean it's like who decided what is common sense and what isn't? Who? And were you asked? I know I wasn't asked. These are things that, for whatever the reason, I'm guided to stop and think about in these moments of now for myself. And I honestly, I feel like, and again, from my point of view, not all of humanity is interested in doing that. And okay, so much so, whatever. If the Turvets card shows up and another point of view does not readily suggest itself, it may be useful to look at the cards around it. Yeah, I with all these other cards, this surrender, the drama, and the beginner's mind, it seems to me like it's all saying the same sort of thing, right? Keeping our mind open to what it is we are trying to show ourselves. Not necessarily so much what somebody else is trying to show, but like for me, if I'm drawn to something, like if you were drawn to this reading and you really don't know why, well, you could tell yourself you like the way I talk or whatever the reason is. But what made you come here in the first place? Because I always say the same thing: morning mojo and the date. You have no idea what the reading is actually going to be about until it starts, right? Because I don't even know. So that for me is a way of that I have communicated with myself. I felt drawn to go to this, that, or the other. And so what is being said um, is something that I'm trying to show myself in some way. And I already read this card, the frosty stillness. I have been having a lot of I don't know, I don't want to call them downloads, but a lot of information showing. In other words, there's a lot of communication internally recently. And so I feel like for me, this frosty stillness actually uh, is apropos for this moment for me. Experience the stillness of frost, finding peace and clarity in the tranquil, icy silence. Um, Having grown up most of my life in the South, being from the North, and knowing what ice and snow is like, but I do recall that there is something interesting and different about the silence of being outside after a snow or a frost. It is completely different. Um, so the next one that wants to be read is this Journey of Love card. It's Man of the Earth, Woman of the Sky. And that's very interesting because, again, it's card number 48, which is a three numerologically speaking. And the Trinity, to me, also speaks of the what could be termed the sacred marriage, or the union of the divine feminine and the sacred masculine within, right? Um, I know for myself, I've been looking at that, and that's actually come up quite a bit in this past week. I'm hoping to have some conscious conversation about some different things that have been shown to me of late regarding toxic masculinity, like what is it, examples of it, different things like that, right? Because I know for a fact that my masculine has always been more present than my feminine. I love being a woman. I would never change that. However, and I have some very interesting thoughts in regards to that, and I really want to enter into conscious conversation with other beings who are asking themselves some questions in regards to that as well. So if that's you, if you have been thinking about the sacred marriage within, and what does that mean, and what does you know, when they these terms, the toxic masculinity, it seems to be everywhere now, folks talking about it. I'd just like to know who decided what that is, and whether or not it's I don't know. I have some questions about it. So I really am very interested in gathering folks who feel like they know what it is, and but not in a confrontational way. I'm not interested in having arguments and things like that. But I'm just sincerely interested in what that means. And so, and if you have like examples of it, even, and you don't mind sending it to me, send it to me at consciousconversationscentral@gmail.com. I would love to dive into that topic. So, very interesting that this came out in regards to that. Man of earth, woman of sky. I see myself in you and you in me. We may seem to be so different and sometimes yet so similar. Even beyond this, I know deep within that we are one. I can lose myself in your light, and receive your light with my body. I can witness the darkness of your shadow and enter into it with my compassion. I can find the divine in our connection, letting go of what I thought I was. I can be broken apart to become as one with you, even if only for a second, and know the divine more intimately than ever before. Our passion leads us to each other. In each other, we find our true selves. Now, I've never actually experienced that in a conscious way. I can see that I've touched that in differing relationships, but I wasn't conscious of it in those moments at all. And I really would love to experience that from a conscious place, at least, prior to moving on to the next realm, if you will. This oracle brings you a message of sacred relationship that leads to divine understanding and experience. You are being opened up to sacred relationship, either in your current relationship or one that is on its way to union. In human relationship and in divine relationship with the heavenly beloved. Know you are worthy of it and keep a light of gentle hope and respect kindling in your heart as you anticipate the union with your beloved. Know that even when it is dark, when it challenges you, there is sacredness unfolding. I've been through lots of relationships that were challenging, but I didn't have that mindset. I didn't witness that sacredness unfolding, as I wasn't present enough with myself to actually do that in times past. I can see very clearly, most specifically in my last relationship, that there was the opportunity for that there, and we both missed it, unfortunately. The love of the divine wants to reach us not only in our happiness, but also perhaps more so in our darkest hour. Let it reach for you through your relatedness with another. And do not be afraid to be broken and opened, for in that cracking of what you thought you were, you shall begin to know what you are, which is heaven on earth. Wow, that really, I'm being shown a t-shirt that Crystal was wearing in one of our classes we were having the other night, about being broken because that's where the light comes in. Wow. How rare to be born with a name of love. What challenges await that I must face, or voice to listen to from above, telling what I must embrace. Each day I walk a path unknown, with no regrets for where I've been. Each experience is mine to own. No choices call to live again. How strong I am, I ask myself. The measured test unfolds each day, a blessing of enormous wealth. Inside the gift will always lay. Wow. Okay. I like that for both myself and for humanity. I'm okay. I'm down with that for sure, for sure. Um, and now the final two cards are from the Alchemy Elemental deck. We have four, which is Foundation, 5, which is change. And let's see what page they're on. The first one being fire, ancestor fire, moon. Wow. And boy, if that ain't some lunar eclipse energy, I don't know what. That's very interesting to me. Fire, ancestor fire, moon. Ah, it's on page 25, which is a 7 numerology. Okay. The ancestors are calling you. They were calling us last week too, I want to say. The ancestors are calling you, my child. The ancient elders speak in whispers through signs and symbols and dreams. Yeah, because I was guided to start a new book, Cauldron, the Celtic Cauldron, or something like that. It's right here. The Cauldron and the Drum, a journey into Celtic shamanism. So I'm gonna be reading this one on my own, separate from the other 2 book clubs. So now I got 3 books going up. Oh my goodness. And I can see now absolutely that has to do with my ancestors calling me, because I had something similar to this last week, at least once, maybe even twice. The ancient elders speak in whispers through signs and symbols and dreams and nature. Their call can be as inconspicuous as a gentle breeze blowing across your shoulder, or as a song lyric that comes on when you start your car. Oh my gosh, how many times I'm constantly getting song lyrics in my head. I know that that is a way that my larger self likes to communicate with. All the ancestors ask of you is that you pay attention, heed their call, and respond. It is time to connect with your ancestors. Build a bridge that allows their presence to be felt and acknowledged. Create an altar for those in your bloodline who walked this earth before you. Make an offering, say a prayer, sing a song. The ancestors have wisdom to share with you. Your connection will create more ease in your life and more trust in your soul. Well, that's really quite interesting for me personally, because right here, I'm just in the very first part of this book. And right here in the foreword, the author of the Warrior Goddess Training Series, who is a shamanic teacher in and of herself, Heather Ash Amara, states how this disconnection from the ancestors has shown her so much suffering, how much suffering people can experience as a result of this disconnection from nature and the ancestors, in the absence of a sense of ourselves being part of a living, breathing web of life. We start to feel lost and alone. So, isn't that interesting that this card is showing? But see, to me, this is again communication to me that I am on the, what I was drawn to. There is absolutely something here for me, because honestly, I was asking myself, are you taking on a little too much here? Third book, what are you doing? But no, I don't think so. I think that's my answer. Okay, and then the very last card was water, ocean, star. Water, ocean, star, which is a 1 numerologically on page 37. We live in a beautiful and abundant ecosystem, symbiotic interdependence, and I believe that's so true. Generosity is a fundamental law of this planet. More we give, the more life can sustain itself, which creates more life, which creates more abundance. This is so true. And let me just say this. I never worry about anything. I'm on Social Security and that's all. And yet I seem to have exactly what I need in exactly the moment I need it. And I received a beautiful gift yesterday, and I have to say, that is so true here. Uh, the more we give, the more life can sustain itself, which creates more life, which creates more abundance, which creates greater and greater realms of majesty in which we get to play. Yay, nature. When we give, when you give of yourself with kindness, you inspire and enrich the lives of others as well as yourself. Well, that's kind of interesting too, because I was also guided this morning to begin my crocheting again. Isn't that interesting? Because that's what those are gifts for folks. Um, Giving creates a natural, energetic flow that ripples out into the community and to the world at large. Every act of generosity is a way of remembering our interconnectivity and our oneness. Like the drop of rain falling from the sky, returning home to the ocean, like the star in the sky that exists to remind us that we ourselves are made of stardust and that anything and everything is possible. Oh my, what a lovely reading for today. And how absolutely awesome is it that every single thing that I've been contemplating is covered here? Wow. Well, that's it for me today. I hope that you found something in this reading, because I'm being shown that it is truly all about our perception, uh, our perspective, our perception of our perspective, and how they are so different for each. And to for me to know that, because there is this underlying foundation of oneness, that is exactly the way it's meant to be. Wow. Well, I hope this was helpful for you. I hope you found something here. I want to share with you that I will be doing another Intuitive Hangout session, more than likely on New Light Streaming Love with Crystal. I don't know exactly when. I would like to do that relatively soon. Again, she's a single mom, and her doctor put her out of work. She can't go back to her job until they won't have her until he can release her fully, and she can't drive right now either. So she's having to depend on the generosity of others, where that is all concerned, and she is a single mama. And so you know everything that we can do to assist her is so gratefully accepted and appreciated in many, many ways. So we're going to do that over there on New Light Streaming Love. If you are around Friday evening, we're going to do a live with Jason Gray here on Sassy Seer Sheila. And that is going to begin at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you miss it, don't worry. There will be a replay afterwards, and I will be uploading, if it's safe to do so, I will upload it over on New Light Streaming Love as well. But if you're watching this on New Light Streaming Love, um, and you don't find it there, it's simply because I chose not to put it over there, which is why I have been telling everyone to be subscribed in both places. Because of what's happened with me, fully 2 times before this, um, it's best that you be subscribed in both places. Because, I don't hold anything back. And the last time they removed my channel, they didn't even tell me why. I violated their guidelines. And quite frankly, even just putting a link in the show more section is a violation of their guidelines. So everybody who does YouTube can have their channel taken down. So until we meet again, I hope that you will move towards that which draws you, because there's something there for you. I hope that you will move towards that which brings you joy, because that is a matter of perspective and your perception of your perspective. And realize too that your perception is yours alone. You have a right to it, as does everybody else. And we can't assume. That's one of the things I now know for myself. And it took me a long, long, long time to get to that point. But we can't assume that everybody thinks the way we do. Until we meet again, my friends, be well. And I'm going to start closing out like Cindy from Awakening to Spirit does. Be gentle on yourselves. That's something I haven't done for myself, and I feel called to do that for myself. And so, as you are looking at yourself, be gentle with yourself as well. Till next time.